What unfolded last night during the high-octane spectacle of WWE SmackDown at Houston's Toyota Center was far more than just another dramatic twist in the long-running saga of professional wrestling. It became an unscripted catastrophe that has shaken the very foundation of the company and cast a harsh, unrelenting spotlight on its priorities, its values, and its treatment of the very talent who carry its brand on their backs. This was not simply about an athlete collapsing, nor was it just about a match continuing while chaos brewed backstage. It was about a company allegedly making cold, calculated decisions to value ratings, narratives, and corporate optics over something as basic and irreplaceable as human compassion and family. At the center of it all was Bianca Belair. We celebrated EST, a woman beloved by fans for her resilience, charisma, and brilliance inside the ring, who unknowingly delivered one of the most emotionally haunting performances of her career while her husband Montez Ford, one half of the Street Profits, was fighting for his very life in a nearby hospital. According to reports from multiple sources, Montez was in the catering area, moments before the live broadcast went on air, chatting casually with fellow superstars when he suddenly clutched his chest, gasped in visible pain, and collapsed to the floor. Witnesses described an atmosphere of instant panic as he struggled for breath, his face contorted in agony before his body went limp. Medical personnel responded within seconds, rushing to stabilize him, but it was immediately apparent this was no minor scare, it was a full-blown cardiac arrest. Paramedics rushed him from the arena to Houston Methodist Hospital where he was placed in the intensive care unit, intubated, sedated, and connected to machines as doctors fought desperately to save his life. Yet while Montez's fate hung by a thread, the most shocking part of the night was not the medical emergency itself, but the response from WWE officials who, according to insider testimony, made a deliberate and coordinated decision to keep Bianca completely in the dark. Staffers have revealed that explicit orders came down from senior executives instructing them not to say a word to her, fearing that she would immediately withdraw from the show, which in their view could derail the night's programming and throw months of planned storylines into chaos. For Bianca, the night began like any other. She was in her locker room, stretching, touching up her makeup, reviewing her lines, and preparing to deliver yet another performance for the fans who adore her. She had no idea that just down the hall, her husband had already been rushed from the building in critical condition. 6 separate employees, according to sources, knew the truth but were forced into silence by corporate directive, a silence that turned what should have been a moment of compassion into a haunting betrayal. When Bianca finally made her entrance, the crowd rose to their feet, chanting her name, cheering with thunderous applause as she smiled, high-fived, and carried herself with the magnetic energy that has made her a global star. To the audience, it was another classic Bianca Belair moment filled with pride, passion, and athletic excellence. But to those who now know the truth, every pose, every dazzling flip, every confident smile has become painfully ironic, a slow-motion tragedy where a woman unknowingly performed with her heart full of joy while her actual heart, her husband, was fighting to stay alive. She wrestled Tiffany Stratton in a 20-minute technical showcase that was supposed to highlight her dominance and set the stage for future storylines. At one point during the match, a production assistant at ringside reportedly received a whisper about Montez's condition worsening. Their expression allegedly shifted instantly, turning pale, but even then, nothing was said to Bianca. She finished the match, celebrated with fans, delivered a glowing backstage promo about her future, and posed for selfies, never suspecting the catastrophe that had already consumed her reality. Then came the moment that shattered everything. Nearly 3 hours after Montez collapsed, a low-level production staffer, visibly shaken and close to tears, was told to inform Bianca. Not a doctor, not an executive, not someone trained for crisis communication, but someone near the bottom of the hierarchy, tasked with carrying news that would permanently scar her life. Bianca was still in her gear, laughing and brainstorming with colleagues, when she was pulled aside and told the truth. Her husband had suffered a heart attack and was in critical condition at the hospital. Witnesses say she screamed in disbelief, collapsed to her knees, began shaking uncontrollably, and cried so loudly that the sound echoed through the backstage corridors. Several wrestlers reportedly broke down themselves, sobbing at the sight of a woman they respected so deeply being blindsided in such a brutal way. But the horror didn't stop there. According to insiders, rather than rushing Bianca to the hospital immediately, WWE executives allegedly placed her in a private room, confiscated phones from those nearby, and treated the situation as a media containment crisis rather than a human emergency. For 45 agonizing minutes, Bianca begged to be taken to her husband's side while executives held closed-door meetings about press strategy and public optics. When she was finally allowed to leave, she wasn't even given the chance to change. She arrived at Houston Methodist Hospital still in her full ring gear, her face streaked with smeared makeup and tears, trembling as she entered the ICU. Nurses described the atmosphere shifting instantly as she sprinted to Montez's bedside, dropped to her knees, and began whispering through sobs about their love, their dreams, the crowd's chants, and her desperate plea for him to come back to her. One nurse described it as the most emotionally overwhelming moment she had witnessed in 20 years of cardiac care, a scene of raw humanity that no scripted storyline could ever match. Yet even as Bianca clutched her husband's hand, WWE was allegedly focused elsewhere. The company released a sanitized press statement describing Montez's ordeal as a mild cardiac episode, and claiming Bianca had been by his side the entire time, a claim immediately met with skepticism by fans who sensed the dishonesty. Behind the scenes, security footage, eyewitness testimony, and even audio recordings reportedly exist that prove executives deliberately withheld the truth from Bianca until after the show. Rumors suggest these tapes, if released, could permanently damage WWE's credibility. The fallout has been swift and fierce. Stars like Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and Rhea Ripley have reportedly expressed outrage behind the scenes, while legends like Mick Foley, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and others have publicly condemned the alleged cruelty. AEW's president Tony Khan tweeted that no television program was worth this level of inhumanity. Even former WWE physician Dr. Chris Amon denounced the company's decision, calling it medically reckless and ethically indefensible. Meanwhile, WWE is said to be scrambling to silence voices, threatening staff with HR action and legal consequences, and hiring a crisis PR firm to suppress emerging details. But despite their efforts, the truth continues to leak from hospital insiders, anonymous talent, and digital footprints that cannot be erased. Fans have erupted online, with the hashtag Justice for Bianca gaining massive traction. Journalists are investigating. Sponsors are reportedly demanding answers. What WWE allegedly did that night is no longer just a PR problem, it is a moral implosion. The optics of scripted entertainment collided with the brutality of real life, and in that collision, a company showed its hand, allegedly valuing its control over narratives more than the simple humanity of allowing a wife to be with her dying husband. Bianca Belair, who has given WWE everything, deserved more than secrecy and manipulation. Montez Ford, who nearly lost his life, deserved to have his wife by his side instead of a boardroom drafting statements. What happened in Houston was not just a scandal, it was an earthquake that blurred the line between performance and reality in a way the company may never fully recover from, and it has left fans, wrestlers, and the entire industry asking one searing question: when the chips are down, does WWE see its stars as family, or as pawns in a never-ending show?